Hey, it's Bonding with Board Games, and we're live with a little bit of HAMTAG fan style.
There you
Say
go.
something, Judd. Say something, Judd.
Hey, something.
Judd's right up on the camera. You know what Judd really likes? Judd likes when I do this, baby. Give him the full show, and then Judd, he stares at himself, and he loves it.
I do.
All right, let's do a little roll call here. People are coming in saying here, and then there were thrice that were in there at one point. Ron Nicholson pointed out. Let's see. Trevor Presente. Sorry, I just said present. I gave it a little Spanish twist. Michael Reeling's in. Ronald Nicholson. Ron's been awesome. We'll talk about I've been working on the Follow Me missions for Ambush. You can't quite see that sitting off there. We'll talk about what we've been doing here in a little bit. Nathaniel Robinson, Matt Kiriasis is in, the Greek. Let's see. Vorpal Bite says hello, room. They say hello back. Bongo Gorilla. I know I don't pronounce it right, but he doesn't mind, and he kinds of likes it. Let's see. Vorpal says hello, ugly. I'm assuming that's for me. All good. Lining up the shot glasses. Wow, Bongo. Judd, what have you been playing recently?
Let me show you. I'm going to do a share screen with you, okay?
Do it.
In
a little bit, we'll talk about this P-47. I'm buying toys again, Judd, and it's a good thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Tell me when you can see it.
Oh, I see it. Let me bring it in. Hold on. I've got to add it to the stream. And it's added. Ooh, that's Starfleet Captains.
The battle for the Alpha Quadrant is about to begin. Many pictures from this side shot. This is Star Trek Fleet Captains. There's the Klingons, the Romulans, the Federation, and there's Kirk. So obviously everything's in good hands. And there's the Dominion.
Literally. You know, I just got.
I got the one. What they call them, Breen. I got their one ship in there. So, along with the Cardassians and the Jem'Hadar. So, ready to rock. I got it all set up.
Perfect. Sweet.
There you go.
All right. Let's go back to this. You know, I just got the, because of what you said, I went and picked up the Dominion expansion as well. Now, I will tell you, I do not have the Romulans, and it was so expensive that I will wait until it's reprinted.
Really? That's why I got the Dominion and made the whole commitment to DS9. I wasn't sure it would be reprinted. So,
and I'm not sure either. I almost grabbed the Romulans once, but I only had like 4 or 5 plays of Starfleet Captains, and I thought, and then now I'm paying for it.
Have you checked Amazon?
Yeah, everything was pretty like $200 for the Romulans.
Woo! Yeah. My wife got that for me for Christmas a couple years ago, and I really liked the Romulans and thought, I bet the Dominion adds something, but I'm going to have to watch that show. What was funny was when I was sleeving my cards, I saw a couple of references in the show and thought I probably shouldn't have seen that. And then when I actually got around to watching the show 6 months later, I couldn't remember what I saw.
That's kind of like me. I can't remember that you just said you were sleeving cards. Nothing like touching plastic. Hello.
There he is. Man, we need to have a top 5 dudes on the map game list.
Oh, now you're talking dirty. I like the way you talk. We're done with the publisher series. This wild card fan thing wraps it up. We are going to take a break next week because you and I are going to, I'm not sure it'll be production quality enough, but we are going to practice, not live, filming our movie review of Midway. And then I will work on how do I get clips? How do I keep everything legal and legit? Although everything I read says that if you're actually reviewing a movie in particular, nice cup, you can use the clips under fair use. So, but I do not want to get, oh, nice. I do not want to get a strike on the channel. You get 3 strikes and your channel's gone. So I want to do reviews of war movies and try to bring over some of those war movie history lovers into board games so that they can make history their playground. But we'll see. So let's see real quick. So I've been working through my Follow Me missions. Ron there is helping me. He is awesome. he's telling me, hey, this doesn't make sense to me, or redo this, or fix this, and then, of course, I got the review of The Shores of Tripoli out. It's a light CDG game. I knew very little about this. I really enjoyed playing it and even had some fun filming it. I don't know, I wasn't even drinking when I was filming it. And I went and bought the book, Thomas Jefferson, Barbary Pirates, or the Pirates of Barbary or something. And I'm looking forward to reading that. And I'm getting ready to film another session report with B-17, and I can't help but buy toys for it. So I've got a B-17 that's 144 scale. I wanted to be able to show when the P-47s are doing air support, so I couldn't help but buy this P-47. And everybody knows from the other show I did that I've painted a bunch of BF-109s, FW-190s. I didn't paint them, my buddy did. And I'm going to be using them instead of the cards in the game. By the way, while we're here, if you like watching HAMTAG and you haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button.
And the bell.
And the bell. The bell tells you when we're going live, so it's a little reminder. Some people don't like the bell on there, and I actually pissed off about 17 people once because my wife with K-State has her own bonding through board game program where we teach families and stuff how to play as an activity. And I had her come on because I'll do a light review of like a family game, and then she'll do it in Spanish or whatever. And I put a bunch of those out so that she could share them with the K-State crowd. And boy, I popped 8 of them out like a day, and they did not like getting all those. So I won't do that again. Or if I do, I'll warn you beforehand, because it was not anything war game related. So it was like 17 drops in one day. And I was like, whoo, okay.
Wow. When I get on, there's that little notification. I just hit the drop down, and yeah, there might be one guy put up. He does 4 videos a day or so, and so what? It's just a list, you know. Whether you choose to click them or not, but okay.
Who knows? Maybe they were fans for years and hadn't watched, and I loaded up their email feed or something. They were like, delete, which is fine. Hey, take it or leave it. I am what I am. All right. So I see Starfleet captains. That's enough of me. Anything else you want to add before we go to the fans?
I just did a pay it forward since we're on this topic of who we did last week. My #1 Revolution Games. I just got that in a pay it forward. That's the second biggest Civil War site to our house, and I've never had a game on P Ridge. So.
Nice. Hey, Trevor wants to know, Judd, give us your thoughts on K-State.
Are you familiar with Star Trek? I mean, the Next Generation when Worf goes back home.
Yes. Oh.
They ran my coach off. Their athletic program is dead to me.
Really?
The only reason you ever see me wear those K-State shirts because my daughter's got that for me, and that was under Coach Snyder. They ran him off. He built that program. They're nothing without him. I have nothing. They're dead to me.
Wow, really?
Yep.
And you're not kidding. You are like Worf on that, or well, they did that to Worf.
Dude, seriously, the only things I got K-State left is like something my wife made me, a cross stitch piece, and something the kids got me. Everything else I took down. I had like 30 K-State shirts. I don't wear them. I mean,
yeah, but your coach was like 98 years old, man. He's gonna leave at some point.
He was pushing 80, but he was still kicking it, man. When he came back, they said he was too old, and 4 years later, he was ranked #1 in the country. Took over the successor after his first retirement, tried to destroy the program. He rebuilt it. So, anyways,
Don't you think he deserves a retirement though? Come on,
he deserves to retire on his own grounds, and he was not ready to retire.
If I'm a cop when I'm 79, I guarantee they won't retire me on my own grounds. They're going to be like, you can't even see a license plate to run it. Hello.
Yeah, but when he took over, they were the worst program in history, and it wasn't even close. And he built them up. I mean, the stadium's named after him. They doubled the size of the stadium, all this stuff. And it was like, he saved that whole he saved him from dropping to Division II.
You're correct.
They were going to get kicked out of the Big 8 because they couldn't meet the minimum. You could go in. When I went up to school, I was there the first year he was. You could go in at halftime for free.
Holy moly!
Yeah, and if they usually sold the Nebraska game because they can make more money doing it that way. But if they did ever have it there, the stadium was all red, which isn't uncommon for Nebraska. But after he built the program up, yeah, Nebraska had their little tiny sliver of fans. So,
wow.
anyways,
So Trevor, Judd doesn't have much to say about K-State.
he knew it. He's seen me on Facebook to know
Woo, that is funny. All right, well, let's drive into this. Ron says age discrimination. Well, you've totally switched me over, Judd, because now I'm thinking you're right. The guy's turned the program around. He's definitely made you on the national level. If he wants to stay there and die at his office and whatever. Actually,
I think he wanted his son to succeed him, and his son ran that. They had the best special teams program in the country by far. And no, we know what's best. Yeah, that's what they said in 2006 when he voluntarily retired, or 2005. They hired their guy, and Ron Prince, and he ran him into the ground. And then he had to come back and save him at like the age of 70-something. And, he's too old. 4 years later, he takes him from, like losing seasons to 11-0 at number one ranked in the country going into like the last 2 weeks of the season. So anyway, he's a wizard.
On that note,
done it with a bunch of walk-ons too. Nobody wants to. I mean, they're always at near the bottom half, lower half of the recruiting standings. I mean, Colin Klein, nobody wanted him. He ends up number 3 in the Heisman Trophy. I could go on and on.
Got it. I'm going to share the screen. You watch the comments because we're going to go talk about the fans. Donner Pass is really looking forward to the Star Trek Axanar fan film, but the studio network was afraid of the high quality and sent the army of lawyers after them. Really?
There's a fan film on YouTube. You can read about it there.
Really?
Yeah, there's been questions about, to answer Vorpal's question, anything Alex Kurtzman does, that's fanfic. That's not Star Trek. That's that crap they've been doing lately since CBS took it over. Oh, this is hilarious, man. Kurtzman to try to get Star Trek interest going. Well, first they put Discovery out there for free on regular night TV, and they were getting clobbered by reruns of game shows. And then he had like a Star Trek day. Wanted to invite William Shatner because Shatner's been critical of him. Had like his roundtable discussions and stuff all day. And what was hilarious is you and me had more views in 24 hours than they had. I'm like, dude, seriously, a couple of dorks talking about war games, and we draw more interest in Star Trek. That tells you how far Kurtzman's destroyed that franchise. He is the Ryan Johnson of Star Trek. He's the guy that killed Star Wars.
Well, yeah, trust me, I know. Goodness. Wow. So here I meant to click this. So Donner says, watch the prelude to the Axanar film. It's still on YouTube. Wow.
Matt, I was born for Nolan Cromwell. I was a kid, but I have Nolan Cromwell's football card, and I remembered he was a quarterback at KU and beat Oklahoma when they were ranked number 1 in the country.
Star Trek. We're going to get into a battle here now. It's illegal. They raised money. Well, I agree with Judd a little bit. I think the fans are now more in touch. Not much different than what they were doing with Star Wars. Thank goodness for The Mandalorian, because there's such a rich world that Star Wars and Star Trek can move in. I knew something was up when my buddy, who always hated Star Trek but liked Star Wars, and all of a sudden he's saying, you got to go see these new movies with the great new graphics, man. I suddenly like Star Trek. I'm like, uh-oh. He's like, what? I go, if you like it, it means they've dumbed it down, because Star Trek's for intelligent people.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams managed to torpedo 2 successful sci-fi franchises. Woohoo!
Yes, I know. This is my co-host on the Scott show. So he was like, what? I go, let's be honest, man. You don't even know what Earl Grey tea hot means. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And he was like, huh? I go, enough said.
Yep. Yeah. So, the thing Nathaniel was making a point of is, you don't make money off of their label. And, when I had my tongue-in-cheek anti-Michael Jordan website going for years, I'd have people wanting to advertise on it. And I'd always tell them, I'm an artist. And I do this for the public good. Now, the truth is I'm no dummy. Michael Jordan's, he's got a pretty good sense of humor. You can make fun of him, but you better not make any money off of him.
Sure.
I was smart enough to know that. And the same with Star Trek. I think they were trying to make some money off that. And make your own story if you want to make some money.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. If you're going to do fan fiction, just do the fan fiction and make it an homage. So let's get into the fans list of our wild card picks. So first wild card pick really just meant, hey, I thought maybe we should have used your idea, which was the best of the rest. But whatever, wild cards. So we wanted to include publishers that one of us, or maybe even both of us, didn't even have 5 games, excuse me, of it. And so this was our way of doing it. And it also then, same thing for the fans, allowed the fans to go in and put down whatever they liked, even if they only had one, or maybe they loved some, old company that had a lot of games that we didn't cover. So we're going to talk about that now. David Wood, 5, Lock and Load Publishing, great publishing company. A Wing and a Prayer was the game that he likes. It's take command of a squadron of B-17s. He, of course, has my interest there. I'm like, I don't know about a Wing and a Prayer. 4 Compass games, Forgotten Legions, 2 games in 1, Drive on Damascus and Bloody Karen. Awesome. It's also how my stepdaughter spells her first name. Revolution Games, Poland Defiant, first 10 days of the German Blitzkrieg. That had to be hell on earth. 2 Hexism, I don't know, Liberty Roads, Western Front campaign in which you decide where to start the second front. Honorable mention.
Go
ahead. Go.
I actually took a really hard look at that game and probably would have got it if it weren't for the fact I was right in the middle of France 1944 and thought, the whole Jones theory is covering the same topic. But I liked a couple of things they'd sent while I was reading reviews on that they did in that game. And I thought it looked kind of interesting. But I've heard really good things about that game.
What's the company is Hexism?
I don't remember. I don't have anything by them.
First rules, make the title of your company easy to say, like Revolution Games is good.
Or Asmodee.
yeah, there you go. Honorable mention, Clash of Arms, Fires of Midway, Carrier Battles of 1942 is what that is. And 1, Decision Games, very good company, RAF, The Battle of Britain, 1940, his favorite solitaire game. And Trevor jumped in there with Lock and Load is so underrated. He loves their games, great productions too. And Wing and a Prayer is a hidden gem, says Nathaniel, both of which are watching or commenting right now. And again, Judd, if you see some comments come in, jump in. I cannot see the comments where I am.
Nothing I've seen so far.
Got it. So Kirk Sorensen, not a list, but he says Yankees go home. And then, of course, Judd jumps in with home plate, baby. He didn't put the baby, but I like that. Home plate. Oh, let's see. So we got Rick Godot, another good video and topic. He says, my best of the rest publishers. I like that. That could have been our title as well. Thanks, Rick. 5, West End, RAF. A favorite solo game, so challenging in managing resources, he thinks it was republished a few years ago. 4, Academy Games, Conflict of Heroes. Yes, sir. Yes. It's in my Hall of Fame. I can no longer bring it up. While World War II tactical is not his favorite period, he likes how it plays out. It was a serendipitous trade, so he's like Judd. He's trading and maneuvering and meta. I was sent this as a wrong game in a trade. Wow. The person said we could call it even and to enjoy it, and he has. 3, Worthington, hold the line. Equally good system of to the command and colors, just as evocative. Just haven't jumped on the others. Like Judd, he's happy with the counters. 2, MMP, the gamers. Yes, this is my second to GMT since the 90s. He has to list a few games for this partnership. Warriors of God, it captures the chaos and difficulties of the era. He agrees with Greg's comment on this. Civil War Brigade series. This is his favorite heavy Civil War battle series. If you really want to experience the frustrations of being a Civil War commander, play one of these. Baron Victory, which is Chickamauga, and No Better Place to Die. Great total, which is Murfreesboro. 2 of his favorites. The standard combat system talks about Beer and Pretzels games. Let's go to his number 1 histo game. Frederick And Maria Richard Civil using incredible simple rules nicely captures the war of position of the 7 Years' War era.
Have you played either one of those games?
I have not.
It might have been about 10 years ago. Boy, I heard about those all the time. The Frederick and Maria. Never played them though. I think there are three players or more. So that's part of why I never got into it, because that's not really how it game. And I'd see them sometimes at BGG Con the few times I was there. So they seem to be really popular and have held up well.
Well, he's got a comment too on that. It's a game that he doesn't mind bringing to any type gamer, which is cool. And then he's got by the way, I'm a Reds fan. I've been one since I lived in Cincinnati for a few years back in the 70s. The memories of the big red machine. Man,
I'll tell you what, he'll enjoy this if he's watching the 76. I was like 6 years old or so, 6, 7. And my grandma was always National League, big baseball fan. Loved it when she could get the Cubs and Braves on TV when they went to cable. But so we had made of course I knew nothing other than, Dad likes the Yankees, Mom likes the Yankees, my sister likes the Yankees, Greg Nettles, yay. So they were playing the World Series. I told Grandma I'd bet you $1 on the game, 76 World Series. Needless to say, 4 games later, and Grandma, being a kind soul, said, "Oh, you don't have to pay me, just learn your lesson." They got swept. That Reds team is pretty awesome.
Wow.
And poor old Joe Morgan and Tom Seaver. My dad's always talking about all the guys from his era all dying, and now it's like, well, my guys are all dying. Joe Morgan died this week, if you didn't hear. Tom Seaver died real recently. I know a lot of people know him for the Mets, but I know him for the Reds, because that's about the time I was getting into baseball.
I did not know that. That's the problem with getting old.
I know.
You're shocked and you're like, what? Then you realize, I'm 50.
Yeah.
50. All right. Douglas Gerhardt says 1A games, Tide of Iron. You bet. Yaquinta. Yaquinta could have made it on mine. I've got Bomber and a few different games from them. Thin Red Line, Great Redoubt, Pickett's Charge. Vento Nuovo Games. This is the one where I have the Stalingrad version. Of course, here he's listing Bloody Monday, Moscow 41. I'm forgetting the name of the designer.
Is that the big block game?
Yeah, and he's putting out really, really interesting stuff. Vento Nuovo Games. My wife always slaps me around, just verbally, when I mispronounce that. Mayfair, Clash of Wills, Shiloh, and I'm going to mess up the name here. Vevictus, the Latin Alexander Contre.
Yes, I think it's like a magazine or something. Yeah, they're over in Europe. Heard they put out really good stuff.
Well, I'm blowing all the name here, even of the game. So in per se, I can't say the rest of it. My apologies. Trevor jumps in and says, Tide of Iron is good. Excuse me, I should have muted. Top 5 for Trevor. Hello. Here we go. Company name highlighted. He's letting me know. Title products per BGG base and expansion. Wow. Holland Spiel. Now, I did just pick up Ribbit, the Mark's game.
The epic one, yes.
Yeah. And
I did a review on it back when he self-published it.
You did. Yeah, I've got that up on the deal here. You do need your Plexi for it. So I played it with Liz, and she was like, this is abstract. And I was like, yes, it is. Hey, I think Jordy's trying to get a hold of you on your communicator.
Yeah.
Holland Spiel, The Guilty Land, 11 products, table battles, and infamous traffic, Brave Little Belgium. 4 Ares games, War of the Ring Collector's Edition. Good call here. Not just the Collector's Edition. That's crazy. Awesome, but crazy. 6 products, Quartermaster General Sales of Glory. This War of Mine, also put out by, the company that's doing Awaken Realms, I think is, maybe I've got that wrong. I think that's them.
Have you played this War of Mine?
I have it. I hadn't unshrinked it because it's supposed to be so easy to start and play.
Yeah.
And I know it's different. I love the idea of the story.
Oh my goodness, it's depressing.
That's what I hear. And
It's just depressing. I mean, it's like worse than the worst country music song of the day. You know, Hank Williams crying in your beers. I mean, it is. Oh wow, it's a bummer, but it's really fun. And when it's
yeah,
all over, I think my joke was, I said, you realize you never really had a chance. I mean, there's probably people who beat it. But,
don't
you know,
ruin
Aaron
it.
and I were playing this, and yeah, we're doing good. We're you know, it's like we were playing it. I think it's co-op game, but
It is. Yeah, the Chechnyan, basically like the Chechnyan War, right? I mean,
yeah, you're at your city's under siege for a year, and you're trying to survive, and you have to like go trade and steal from people, and oh man, it's a bummer. And you know, now you got to put out people to guard your house while the others try to rest because they're going to try to raid you. And man, it's sad, but it's really a fun game. But I mean, I've never seen a game like that is just so freaking depressing to play. But yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll play that game.
See, I need to play it. I told everybody on here, even told me that I needed to play it just for the experience. But then I saw a lot of people won't buy the expansions because they've had enough depression.
The thing on it is you're not going to uncover all of its secrets on the first play. There's lots of stuff like, why would I want that? And then later on, you see, oh yeah, I probably should have got that. I could have, you know, that would help you. You might need something that would help you build something else, you know, and stuff like that. It's like all the choices are good choices, and you wish you could have them all, but you know, you only have so much wood, and with wood, I can build this or that. And oh yeah,
got it. I know I need to play it. Multi-Man Publishing, MMP, great campaigns in the American Civil War. It says 22 products. I didn't know they had that many.
Who did?
Great campaigns in the American Civil War with Multi-Man.
Yeah.
I've got a few of those. I need to get to play Charlie Kibler. No, not Kibler Elf. It's dang it. Now I'm saying Charlie's last name wrong. So
that was Kibler.
Is it? Maybe it's not. It's not the Kibler elves.
Keebler's the elves.
Keebler, yeah, it is Kibler. See, I got it right. Now I got it right. I thought
I always knew it wasn't pronounced like the company.
Yeah, he told me it is not the elf. You said it like the elf. I'm like, sorry, Charlie. So Charlie did the maps for those, and they're beautiful, and it's operational. Civil War. Academy Games, Freedom, the Underground Railroad, great game. I actually got into it with a captain of mine over that game. Happened to be African American. He didn't think that should be a game, and I explained to him, you are freeing the slaves. It's all about the Underground Railroad and the abolitionist movement. And I said it was even being used to teach folks on what all was done. He kind of was like, I was like, I know there was a big thing all over the gamer world on that as well.
There's also a big one on the King Philip's War, and I heard that got resolved to satisfaction of all parties. That was John Paniski put it out. I forget which company it was. Yeah, because they weren't familiar that it was used to teach history instead of, they're probably thinking Monopoly.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly what my captain was thinking of. He was thinking it was some kind of, and folks don't know the depth. Basically, I said, well, could you read a book about, the Underground Railroad that was educational and informative and accurate? He's like, of course. I go, that's what this is, but you get to go in and actually learn by doing. I still got a raised eyebrow, but
MMP, King Philip's War. Thanks, Trevor.
Yep.
You commented.
Got it. Days of Wonder, Memoir 44, 52 products. 18 of them are Memoir 44 products. Battle Lore, Small World. Cool. Honorable mention, Osprey Games, Undaunted, UNP Games, Waterloo 1815, Mercury Games, Guns of Gettysburg, and Pullis. Jolly Roger, love Jolly Roger with Founding Fathers. Play it with Greg and Judd a lot, or at least Greg. I don't know. We played it once, didn't we, Judd?
We might have. If you played it, first time I played it with Aaron, and I know Greg was there. It was
I played it with Greg a lot.
Yeah.
I love it. DVG, Pavlov's House, Field Commander Series, dishonorable mention is Valley Games for the dishonorable. Good call.
Somebody mentioned Hollandspiel earlier. I don't have any of their stuff, but they've always looked like an interesting company.
Yeah, I know that was the first time I got something from them, and I went and read a lot of their stuff based on that comment where they talk about putting the designer on equal footing and making sure the designer's treated well. And so I like their their ideas, I don't know. I guess I need to look at them more. So
yeah, they have a supply lines of the revolution. I've always wanted to look. Topic automatically has me interested. But yeah, just me, I'd check out trades and stuff like that, pay it forwards, things like that. Haven't seen anything work out yet. So someday, patience. As long as you're patient, it'll eventually pay off.
Got it. Gregor's, great video guys. His list is 5 Holland Spiel, Gricla, Masters of Britain, Brave Little Belgium, 4 DVG, Field Commander Napoleon, Phantom Leader Deluxe, 3 Worthington, Band of Brothers, Hold Fast, Atlantic, 2 Academy Games, 878 Vikings, great game, Asymmetric, 1775 Rebellion, Conflict of Heroes, love it, love it, love it. And number 1, MMP, Warriors of God. I heard a lot about Warriors of God.
Man, I figured MMP would be on a lot of people's list.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of ASL players. And once again, I remembered his name all week long until I can't remember it. The guy who come up with the OCS, SCS system, and then he does those Civil War games too. Dean Essig. Yes.
Nice.
They do a lot of his games, and those, they know their audience. They probably got a pretty successful business model. So a lot of people love those.
They're good. I just their printing schedule just seems so delayed and long. And I know it can be expensive, but if they're doing a P500 and they do pre-orders, I've got a couple on pre-orders for their Civil War series. Great. I can't remember the name now, but just seems like they don't produce enough.
Slow. Except for ASL and OCS games, they.
Yeah, but even the ASL,
why I have so few stuff, because that's not really my thing.
But they'll do a print run and then they sell out, and then they go right back up to being crazy prices. That's the one thing. It seems like they don't have enough of a cushion to print an extra 1,000. Now, I know you don't want to sit on product because that can actually kill a company, and we don't want them to die or anything. But it just seems like you could print over 500, or I don't know. I'm not in that business, so I'll refrain.
The great one he had mentioned, because he used to run Victory Games, and there was a podcast, and I don't remember the name of it, and he talked about GMT had asked him to talk about what went on at SPI and stuff like this, lessons learned, Victory Games, and it was more or less the P500. Once they got that, they don't make 500 games. They price it for, if we make, just throwing a number out there, 1,000 games, we're guaranteed a profit.
Right.
So they get the money, and let's say 500 people order it. They've got 500 stock. They've already pulled the profit.
Yes.
Now then you wonder, why do you see these games on deep discount on cool stuff and GMT fall sales for 50% and stuff? That's because they've already made money. Everything else is gravy. And if you do your homework, and even Kickstarter, you have to pay 10%, I think it is, to Kickstarter. But if you do your homework, you figure out how many games you're going to make, what it's going to cost you to make them. Kickstarter's 10%. You see Worthington get up there a lot of times. They have like 215 people that tend to back their. I always call them like 200 to 250 people that back their games, unless it's Band of Brothers. They're turned that profit already. So it always kind of surprised me on MMP. They did one Kickstarter, Lincoln's War. There's a lot of things wrong with the end product. Really, I think the bigger problem with that game is it was just poorly developed. And I think it just kind of burned them. Originally they said, we'll have this game out by July, and I think this was May, and I laughed because I thought, dude, you're going to China. I work for like a Fortune 50 company. It takes us 9 weeks. We order 10,000 parts. You're ordering 200 board games. Who do you think is going to get first on that boat? Mm-hmm. So, they just didn't know. And I just told people, this ain't going to happen. You'll be lucky if you get it in September, October. I think it came out in November. And I was like, that's the way of Kickstarter. Worthington had the same problem with Band of Brothers when they first came out with it. Now they've figured out how to work the China thing, and their numbers are, their predictions are accurate. But like when it comes to Shifting Sands, been out of print 10 years, and I'm like, you got the artwork done. That's the delay a lot of times. Like, all you need is the resources, get the money up front and do it. Why don't you do a Kickstarter? But I know Mike wants to redo the board on that. I always thought the board is plenty cool, but I thought, if you got all the stuff, why not just do a straight reprint on Kickstarter rather than your super slow P500 that You know, a lot of people giving up on it because they do P500. By the time the game comes around, their credit cards have expired. So.
Right. Nope. I agree with you 100%. That's my only deal there. But hey, GMT's really the master of that. The way they work their P500, and then they're able to even judge demand when they throw something up and it goes. Look at Pacific War from Mark Herman. I think it had 2,000 P500 backers within 2 months, and they were like, okay, put that on the next one to do.
Yeah, then they figure out after a while this just ain't going to happen. Like they pulled Unhappy King Charles off, which is a bummer because that's a really good game.
But I like that. I like when they say, hey, we're going to yank this. They've got that wizard game that looks interesting yet odd, and the artwork's crappy. And it's got enough, but it's not really driving well. But it looks like it might be one of those games that even your favorite word, Eurogamers, might enjoy. But it looks interesting. But I got to admit, the solitaire game, the President, I forget the full title of it. It actually,
President.
Yeah, it kind of sat there just doing nothing, and then all of a sudden it just catapulted up, and now it's supposed to come out in 2021, and I'm really excited for that.
Well, some of it's the development. I think they're gauging interest, and they might not think it passes so quickly because last I knew Pacific War, when I'd asked Mark about it, this has been a year or two ago, it was the developer, So he's trying to get developer on board, developer schedule and stuff. So I think sometimes when this goes on, they want to fine tune the development of it.
Sure.
I mean, we had France 1944. We did that in 2018. And it finally shipped in January 2020. I had the rules written. I had everything signed off like almost a year in advance. But then it's a matter of getting in the printing queue. It's like Revolution. They get so much time on the counter puncher. They group together games. Then they get a big, batching queues, the phrase, if you're familiar with it. But yeah, that's how they're doing. So that's part of what they're, they only have so much resources. You think about it. Well, shoot, Worthington, I think, is just a couple of dudes in a garage basically shipping the games out to people. So it's not like they got this great factory system and forklifts and, FedEx, type of logistical system. So they only have so much they can go down the pipeline. So I think that's part of why they're dedicating what they can and artwork and blah, blah, blah. So,
well, that's part of the beauty of where we're at is the ability to offshore your printing and all that kind of things allows some different things. I mean, you look at the shores of Tripoli, Kevin Bertram owned his own company and then sold it and then did a little side thing from it. But he looked for a game based on the book he'd read, couldn't find it, and thought maybe I can do it as a CDG. And one thing he did from his business world was hire someone to actually write the rules that knew how to write the rules. So, and then you hire somebody to actually do your art and put it together. That's their expertise. Who else did this really well was Days of Wonder. Those guys, their hobby was basically starting companies and selling them. And they'd done 8 of those or something. So when they started Days of Wonder, they actually thought, well, maybe we want to hold on to this one for a while. And they even sold that to Asmodee, I think, for $20 million or something. But they did the same thing. They just looked for a top-line designer, Borg, with Memoir, and with Days or with Ticket to Ride. Again, that's Moon.
Alan Moon, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, and we're going to make this top quality. And I remember when that came out, there weren't too many games that could compete with the quality they were bringing. So, and they knew what they were doing, and they had the money to do it right from the get-go. So, let's get back. Any comment?
Trevor, I think the podcast was if Doomsday's coming and they end it with this, and you have to take 5 games with you, what 5 are you taking? Because I remember Mark Herman cheated and squeezed in chess. So I don't think that's Guns, Dice, and Butter, but I don't know the name of that podcast. I know it's that because I only have one Mark Herman podcast. I'm like, yeah, what kind of stalker fanboy am I? That's really the only one I've ever heard him do. So that's how I know that one. So, okay.
Good. We should do a top 5 on that sometime too. That'd be a good one. Forrest Colt, 5, Baptism at Bull Run. Best parts without the not so good parts of Simmons type games from an independent and free to print and play BGG. 4, Victory 2 by Morrison Games. Best mechanics from Dudes on a Map games on a Catan-like map that's discovered and different every time. That intrigues me right there, brother. 3, go ahead.
There was a Worthington made a Axis and Allies Napoleon game, War and Peace, not to be confused with the Avalon Hill. And it's hilarious because they went to that Victory company and bought pieces from them for their game.
I didn't know that. 3, Shores of Tripoli by Fort Circle. Got to play test this one and really like the new ideas and topic covered. That's the one I just put the review out on. War of America by Compass Games. Been following Gilbert's his development on YouTube, and it looks like it'll be great. Interesting. Honorable mentions, all the other Revolution games. Washington Crossing by Revolution Games.
Love that game.
Yep, Washington's Crossing. That's his number 1. Very cool. All right, let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. Judd, thank you so much for mentioning Crusade and Revolution. I'm glad that you are enjoying it. That's from David Gomez Reyes.
Spanish is not my first language. I can have my daughter come down here and read. I think it's Rayoso, but yeah, I've been writing him as I told him I had the game on the table, and he's just a cool guy.
Cool.
Gentle Hombre, if you know him on BGG, got a cat with like a red shaded stripe through its head or something interesting. But anyway, super cool guy. I mentioned that last week. So yeah, I had a blast with that game. We ended up watching all kinds of videos on the Spanish Civil War and learning things about it. So best part of wargaming, you learn something you didn't know.
I agree 100%. The Shores of Tripoli led me to go get the book even as I was reading stuff, and then great history notes in that game as well. Nano Rider 426, he's done a top 5 designers. Yeah, I go against the flow. He would have done a top 5 publisher, but you've covered nearly all those that he has. And just 1 or 2 games of the rest. So there you have it. Let's see. The only publisher to note is Leading Edge Games with Aliens of the movie, this time it's War. And then no particular order, so he can't rank them. So don't worry about the ranking. 5, Harry. Oh, so these are back to his designers then, right? Is that what he's doing here? Or I can't tell. Maybe he's ranking them, but he's just got the designer's name first. So Harry Rowland, Empires in Arms, World in Flames, Fatal Alliance. 4, Stefan Feld, Castles of Burgundy. John Butterfield, love it. Voyage of BSM, Pandora.
What's he have on Butterfield?
Butterfield is Voyage of the BSM. So that was his first solitaire game. Pandora, Ambush, and Delta V I don't know about.
Okay, he's not doing publisher because Ambush is Victory Games, and I don't recognize any of those other games.
Yeah, no, okay. He's doing designer, I guess, because he's got Falkland, and then he's got Knizia. So let's move on through that. Let's see.
I've been asked about doing favorite designers, but everybody knows mine. So guess who my number 1 is?
Let's see. Trying to think of a good party game designer, but I can't think of one. I was going to throw that out. All right.
That's because there are none.
Oh my goodness. So
you walked into that one, dude.
I did. I left that open. Let me see if I can hit the right button here. Presmek Bozek. Sorry. I do like odd games. So I got a few games from, quote, Wild Card Publishers, his list. 5, Australian Design Group. A few years back, got 7 Ages and really liked the design despite relatively poor production quality. Recently, almost got a full version of, I don't know this, WIF Collector's Edition as well. But the trade didn't.
Flames.
Got Got it. Okay.
Hey, by the way, one of the big wigs in war, yes, Trevor asked if my favorite designer, Stefan Feld. Woohoo! I do have the Roma games and made the Vassal module for it. Sorry, what was we just talking about? I totally lost my train of thought.
Australian design group, War and Flames.
Oh, one of the big wigs from that is from Wichita.
Really?
Yeah. And Whiff Wendell, if you know him, who's like the ultimate ambassador for War and Flames. I mean, Whiff is in his name. Yeah, he knows who the dude is. I just kind of mentioned it kind of like I did to you, and he knew exactly who the dude was.
Interesting. Okay. Well, maybe he'll be in town visiting family. We should have him on the show. For Aries, for one game only.
Oh, hey, Nathaniel's want to know if you could take his comment off screen. It's been hanging out there about Axanar and Star Trek.
All right. Sorry. Let me come back in. Bart. Now I'll leave that one up forever. Just kidding. Now let me pop back in here. All right. There we go. Sorry about leaving the comment on there. Let's see. Aries, for one game only, War of the Rings, 2nd edition. Played it a few times and still really enjoy it.
Love that game.
Yes, very nice. Clash of Arms. It's an underdog on the list, less popular due to the odd artwork. I won't go through everything. Holland Spiel have a lot of their games and really enjoy them. Created official Vassal modules. This is like your alter ego, Judd.
Which one for Holland Spiel?
Yeah, but he created for a few of them as well. Agricola, cool. Charlemagne. Probably his favorite will remain Table Battles, most portable of them all.
If you want to see something hilarious, go to go to Agricola, the Eurogamer game. You know, the famous one.
Oh yeah.
Go into the reviews, and there's a guy who put one up there that says this is the worst war game I've ever played, and he's referring to the general. And it's funny because you can tell all the war gamers they're dying, and the Eurogamers are all haroof like they get about things. But anyways, it's classic. It's only obscurely related to that because they actually made the game on the general.
Right, got it. One Compass, easily one of his favorite companies. Loves their work, and they compete with GMT for his favorite publisher spot right now.
Man, they have I mentioned it, they're just turning out some beautiful stuff. Just last 5 years. First thing that really got was when what they did to Tricorn. I'm sorry. I mean, gets the GMT guys all riled up, but you hold the two games side by side, and Tricorn is a better quality product than Napoleonics. And that's not dogging Napoleonics. I've been playing that game more than any other this year. Just I'm talking about the quality of the game itself. Like look at the tiles and the dice and things like that. They really knocked that thing out of the park. But, part of it is they want to make a great impression.
Sure. Some recent favorites from Compass Forum are Stellar Horizons, Nations in Arms.
Here's your Seinfeld reference.
Exactly. Valma to Waterloo, Silent War, and Europe in Turmoil. Glad their prices go down and quality goes up with the recent move of some of their games to China production. He's got some honorable mentions, including, here's again, Hexism, Napoleon Against Europe, Decision Games, Axis Empires, Nuts, published by publishing FITNA, and Tiny Battles Publishing. He's got their rifles in the Pennsylvania via the War Game Vault. Let's see. He's got some regret to Judd. What is this? I have similar regret, to Judd's with regards to the shipping costs for some of the publishers being across the pond. Interesting. So,
yeah, I mailed a dude from Holland, Hands in the Sea expansion pack. He was looking for it, missed out. I had the 2nd edition copy, so I had the 1st edition expansion pack. And I knew the guy for a long time. I said, hey, send me your address. I'll ship it to you if you pay shipping. Shipping is $15, and that was like, 15 cards. I put them in those little plastic boxes like the ball cards come in. but it was a padded envelope. I did everything to keep the shipping down and keep it protected, and it was still, $15 to ship it across the pond. It's like, holy cow.
I know. All right, Derek Letter. He was late to the party last week, so he had to watch the entire video later, not live. Great fun. He got quite a surprise as he tried to put the list together. By the time he'd started sorting, he had a list of 20 publishers. He was a little stunned by that. That does not include publishers like SBI and Battleline. They were gone so long ago that he thought he should leave them off his list, which is pretty much what we did. So here we go.
That's why I left Task Force off. Their games are on the cheap side, but they were fun and nostalgic.
Yeah.
Nobody's mentioned them, so I'm a little bummed, man. They're best known for Starfleet battles, but they made some quirky little weird like games that would be considered Ameritrash today.
Yeah. So number 5, Night Works. One game, Hands in the Sea.
Hands in the Sea.
Great game.
I didn't put them on because I have one game by them. They do great stuff. Love the owner, cool guy. But yeah, I wasn't going to put it on for just one game. Besides, it's in my Hall of Fame, so I couldn't talk about it.
There you go. And amazing customer service from Dawn. Very cool. 4, Jolly Roger Games. One game, 13 Days, The Cuban Missile Crisis. Some would argue.
You ever played it?
Huh? Yes.
You ever played it? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't quite. I don't know. It was a little.
Really?
Yeah. And I was playing with Liz. Maybe that was it. But
okay, it's like if you want to play Twilight Struggle in 45 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't know. I felt like, we'll see. I
got rid of it because it didn't solo. Even the Stupid Joe method ain't going to solo that well. So Stupid Joe has a card-driven game solo system. It's pretty cool.
Well, and it's kind of like, it's light. It's CDG. The Shores of Tripoli is probably a little heavier than that. It's really about learning the history, which I get. And I don't know, the board there left me a little bit like blah, I think. I don't know why. I know the board's
just made a card game version of that, and I thought that thing was a big dud. It was just a card game. It had nothing to do with the Iron Curtain, but that's just me.
Got it. And he says he was 12 when all this was happening, and it felt like war, and the game captures the feeling. PSC games. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yep.
Yeah, Dad was sleeping on a runway. I think Pope Air Force is what they call it, the one that was for Fort Bragg, ready to jump in there during that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were going to take an airfield or something.
Oh, yeah. Tense times. PSC games, 4 games, not including the Hold the Line partnerships with Worthington. His favorites are The Great War, love The Great War. Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg, that is actually a very, very fun, light, all of World War II game. I've played that many times and I enjoy it. I didn't think I was going to, but I do. It's very abstract though. Let's see, 2 Academy games, 5 games. Yes, sir. Yes. Loves Conflict of Heroes series and the Birth of America series. Playing and enjoying One Small Step right now. That's their worker placement, the race to the moon between the Russians and the Americas. My wife and I love that game. Amazing production values for all of their games, and Uwe cracks me up whenever he watches one of his interviews. Yes, Uwe is great. 1 Osprey Games, 3 games. He put them number 1 because of the surprise at how much fun the 2 Undaunted games are. Deck building, tactical war games with no line of sight. What? That can't possibly work, but it does. His comment makes me want to get them. Makes me want to play them. Have you played them?
No, I've heard interesting things about them, but no, I've never played them.
It makes me want to try them. I don't know. I like deck building. Something about the artwork or something never quite got me interested, but I don't know. And then what does he have? Our honorable mentions include 15 other publishers. He's solely tempted to list them all along with his favorite games from them, but he won't. That said, he will mention 2 new publishers that are publishing games that he's looking forward to. Fort Circle Games, The Shores of Tripoli, yep, and Forsage Games for Age of Dogfights, World War I. You ever heard of that?
No.
Me neither. That was interesting. Let's see. Alive and Live. HAMTAG on the menu. The Islands of the Damned. Pair of solitaire games was by Against the Odds, but you were saying Last Stand games.
Yeah. I meant to clarify, because I wrote some of these publishers and sent them a
This
link
is
to our
Mike
thing.
Ranella.
Huh? Yeah. I sent a link to some of the publishers, said, I thought, hey, they probably want to hear a good word about themselves, make up for the people that grouse about, so you didn't send my order fast enough or what, Well, anyways, I wrote the guy at Against the Odds because I'd worked with him on, hey, can I make a Vassal module for this? And he's like, hey, thank you, makes me feel good, but this, and he wrote it was like 1:30 in the morning, so I didn't read it too carefully. He had like a diagram made, and then I was talking to Mike about it on Facebook. I think, okay, it's not Last Stand. They have another, it's like labels, same company make, Ford makes Mercury, not G, Ford, Mercury, Lincoln type of things, different labels.
Right.
And I think they got this label and it makes, I think Last Stand's part of it and Against the Odds. Anyways, I had that technically wrong. And the other label begins with an L and it has kind of, I don't remember what it was, but anyways, what I was trying to say was whoever makes Against the Odds kills it. They're awesome. I mean, they make great stuff. Or at least everything I've ever played, I pretty much love by those guys.
Got it. Douglas Gerhardt says, I don't know how to say it, OF Cube Editions, Napoleon Saga, Lost Battalion Games, Day of Days, Command Post Games, Maringo. And he's done. That's it. What is Curiosus saying here? He's got, I don't think it's a list, so we're going to move on by, but it does mention Grail Games, I think, but it's not a list. So sorry, Matt. I know I read it originally when it came out. I won't go through it here, though, because we're trying to do lists of games. Nathaniel Robinson, who's on his wild card publishers, 5. Warlord Games, Spotlight Game is Blood Red Skies, and I use their miniatures, the 1/200th scale. I think so. Maybe it's 1/400. I can't remember. Miniatures, no, it's 1/200. Miniature war game on a variety of subjects, including in the littoral zone. Blood Red Skies is great at modeling squad actions and combat. Now that's interesting. So, 4, Sierra Ion Games, Spotlight Game, Pax Porfiriana. Yes. I'm trying to get Liz to play that. I've got several PAX games. The publisher explores a broad range of subjects with great academic intensity. Flavor text on cards is simply supreme. Compass Games, Spotlight Game, Zeppelin Raider. This publisher challenges GMT on the breadth of war topics and generally has excellent components. 2, Academy Games, Spotlight Game. I like his format that he did here. 1754, thoughtful designs that not only are accessible, but help beginners become more advanced gamers. Excellent. Great comment. 1, Hollandspiel, Spotlight Game, Agricola, Master of Europe. Tom Russell is the epitome of a quirky designer who shows no fear of an original design or an original theme. And so, yeah, this is not managing a farm with your sheep. Honorable
Man,
mention.
I told you I hate that Agricola so much. That turned me off of Eurogamies.
Man,
I don't hate them, but I thought they were awesome until I played that game. Then suddenly everything I'd ever heard about them just suddenly came into focus. Multiplayer, solitaire, themeless, all this stuff's like,
yeah.
I said it killed a genre for me.
Well, I played that game as well, and when they were loving it at BGG, and I played it, and I was like, yuck. I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
But I love Euro games as far as like worker placement and with a group and what Knizia does with bidding. So I love that. But let me get honorable mention game, Dual Powers, 1917. The game eschews, great word, the political dimensions to focus on how crowds of people are mobilized and deployed to control public space. Wow. So what a wonderful list, Nathaniel. I really like that. And that tops us out. So I'm going to stop sharing and come back in. Let me click around and get us to this mode. So, wow.
Okay.
Great.
Vorpal had the top 5 early in the comment. I was going to go while you was going, so I'll just read these off. TSR, Little Bighorn, Steve Jackson Games, Car Wars. That's the first game I ever got when I got my first job in high school. FASA, Battletech. I know them from Star Trek, the role-playing game. Pinnacle Entertainment Group, The Last Crusade. I'm not familiar with them. Flying Buffalo, Nuclear War. Hey, I've got that game. That's the only party game I like, and it's not even considered a party game, but I've taken it to parties.
And what do you mean, Vorpal Chief, get a PayPal first? What is that? I don't know what that means. I
saw it and I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, I have PayPal, so I don't know what that means. So get a PayPal first. I don't know. Yeah, and we had David Warren here, White Dog Games.
White Dog I didn't remember them even getting mentioned, or maybe once. I was kind of surprised, but I don't have a lot of games by them. I got Herman Lettman's one on Dunkirk, which is I think that's White Dog. Anyways, and they were the ones I think did the American Revolution solitaire game I did a review on. But yeah, they're kind of like Hollandspiel, and I was kind of surprised they didn't get much mention, but there you go.
Huh. A ham sandwich goes into a bar and orders a beer. The bartender said, "Sorry, we don't serve food." So let's see. Trevor says, yeah, you need to try Undaunted. It's awesome. I do like deck building. So, and if it does it different, I mean, we know a few acres or even Hands in the Sea and the way those worked. So,
the only funny, I couldn't even do a top. Yeah, never mind. I could do a top 5 deck builders because I got the Marvel game in the Firefly. But let's say I got the Star Realms and the one on the Airborne Commander. So I had 6, but I never got into Dominion and that stuff. I think wasn't that the name of the one that started the deck building?
Yes, definitely. I'm forgetting his name. I used to have it because it's got his X in it or something. But
now I'm to the nerd point. Thanks, Nathaniel. That if they said Dominion, I'm like, well, you better have the Vorta in there and the Jim Hadar, or I don't want to play your game.
And David Warren here. Worthington Publishing, a hold fast system, is very good with East Front. Tunisia is also good. Wow. So we're good. We're at an hour and 2. We're looking pretty good. Anything else you want to add, Judd? First of all, I want to say for everybody that put their list in, I really like that list. It anytime I do the fans section and it's sending me, which is more and more often, it sends me to go look at different games when I read the comments. And I thought this was was brilliant comments that were in here on this one. What about you, Judd?
Yeah.
So John here, thanks, Bart. Judd just picked up Dunkirk, France, 1940, ready to sticker. I think that is a hidden gem. The map seems a little plain and it's taken a little bit of a hit, but the Fog of War 4x4 is just key, and I've looked forward to playing that with Judd or anybody else. It's got a very nice feel to it. And I think it's going to keep gaining ground as people get a chance to play it.
The problem it has, the biggest problem, I think, is it just has an ugly map.
It does. Yeah, the map is a bit of a turnoff when you look at it.
Yeah, and I know there's, everybody's an art critic, but to me, it's functional. It does the job. And I have pretty games that suck, or I should say put that in the past tense. So I'd rather have a great game that looks okay. Of course, they're saying, why can't I have both? Yeah, you can have both. I don't know. It's like when they did the Gettysburg 150, Rick Barber, I think, it offered to do their map, and they went another direction, which is, to me, is pure insanity, because Rick Barber's the Mark Herman of maps in my book. Plus, not too many people know Gettysburg better than him. He lives right by there. And then he made one and sold it. And I bought one. You could just stick it right over the top of your game and play with his map. So I've done that one. But anyways, yeah, so some of their maps, one of the guys I know, Joseph, he makes a geek list of ugly games with maps, and Worthington is highly represented on. It's kind of a bummer because they make some really good games that kind of get ragged on that.
So, Trevor, in answer to your question, I have a whole set right over there with board games, and it was kind of set up that way, and I could light it. I could do that. But I actually like having a different kind of set in the background, and sometimes it leads people to ask different questions rather than just having games back there. Matter of fact, when I do some of my what we call quick hitter reviews with whiskey, I will sit over at the board game side, and then I get a lot of cross comments on what in the heck are those behind you, or fans will come on and go, oh my God, I see the giant ogre and B-17. And so I actually like having, everybody in YouTube board game land has their board game wall behind them. And so I thought, you know what? Let me do the whiskey wall. It's just as obscene of a collection as my board games. And the board gamers go, wow, that's a lot of whiskey. And then when I do the whiskey show, there's folks that go, oh my God, they make that many board games? I'm like, you have no idea.
Play Risk.
Yeah. And then I've had good crossover. I'll get, I don't know, maybe about 1% or crossover, and they're doing both war games.
Oh, Trevor's asking why you got in the corner by me. You've got, I wondered what that was.
Oh,
like the dummy guys. I didn't know what that.
Oh, sorry. That's my branding. That's what he's talking about. So that means I have to go in here and
there you go.
There you go. I did a whiskey live. And so that's what that branding was. And very good call. So there's the HAMTAG sticker. Sorry. Yeah, that's our logo on Scotch Test Dummies. So that's what he meant.
There's a thing over on the One Player Guild. You remember Geek of the Week? On BGG?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, they did away with that, but there's nothing stopping people from carrying it on. And I guess the one player guild, I didn't even know about it until this week when I got it. They have they call it the sock puppet of the week. It's basically the solitaire gamer of the week. And I got that this week. And somebody had asked me what they said, more or less, am I sipping with you on HAMTAG?
Yeah, you don't drink whiskey.
I think the strongest thing I've ever had, I had some red wine because I heard it was good for you. Man, I hate that stuff. And yeah. And that time we was down at BGG and I had that little tiny like tablespoon of scotch off of somebody, then wrote it all down and said, is this any good? Went back. But yeah, it's like my beer usually is what I'm smoking meat with, and then whatever's left is like, that's my beer drinking for the year.
Oh, you're good. It doesn't matter to me. I mean,
I didn't start until I was in my 30s, so just never was a thing with me.
Oh, I never really drank much whiskey until I was 40, I think. And I had a nice bottle that I used to both remind myself of earmark moments, both positive and negative. So, and I would kind of toast off to that. What happened with whiskey was back when the History Channel actually showed history, they did a beautiful series called The History of Whiskey, I think. And they showed, kind of the history of why it was being distilled, how distillation started, and then took it all the way forward and talked about how it's history in a bottle, that the taste will change by the seasons and what happened or how they did it. And it looked so interesting. I actually then heard a radio commercial where some liquor store said, hey, we don't just do wine tastings, we'll do Scotch tastings. So I set one up with a bunch of buddies and found one I liked. And that then led down the road to doing a show. So then we get flown to Ireland and all kinds of cool stuff to film. So, but nobody's flying me anywhere for board game stuff. That's all right. That is okay. We're a niche inside a niche when you play games like Ambush.
That's in your Hall of Fame. Put that down.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't on my list. It's just awesomeness. Okay, any questions, and we'll sign off. We'll give it a little bit of time. Let's see. Here was a History Channel. Vorpal, he loved the old History Channel. First Power and Wings were my favorites. Yeah. You know what we could do a list on, and I know we need to talk about a little bit. There are a lot of great YouTube shows that actually will cover history, and a lot of the viewers will send me links saying, hey, check this out or check that out. And I mean, history is alive on YouTube. That's the beauty of YouTube, is look what we're doing. You know, I mean, I know we're not mass market. I'm not trying to be mass market. It's us
we're beating Alex Kurtzman, though.
Yeah, there you go. But that's the future. The future. I used to hate cable because I had to get like all these shopping network channels that I would never even look at, and it was part of a package. And I always wanted a la carte. YouTube literally is a la carte. It's whatever's got my interest, no matter how big or small. You can go and find somebody that's into it and dive deep down into it. Speaking of deep down, Beavis and Butthead. So that has been the beauty of it. Military Aviation History is a great channel from Germany. See, that sounds great. I will steer you guys towards something else that doesn't really fit as history, and I can't remember the name of it. If I remember, I'll throw it in the description later. This guy does reviews of MREs. Those are meals ready to eat. And he has like 1 million subscribers. And the one that caught me, because one of my whiskey buddies said, man, he was a Cav guy in the 90s or 80s. He said, you got to go check this thing out. And the guy had sea rats from 1968. And he starts off saying, hey, I got these. They were stored in a basement. They're in good shape. There's no expanding to the cans, but I'm not going to eat them because they're older than me. And of course, he's laying them out. And he's like, you know, these eggs look pretty good. And he ends up trying little bits. And it's just, and then he did a Swedish MRE, and it was just amazing. It's like a little birthday package. Then he did a Chinese MRE. And I was just like, this is awesome. So it was just the guy's presentation, and then it's like a food review all at the same time. Again, I'll put it in the description. I cannot remember the name of it. He's super popular. I'd love to have him on. I don't know if he would do a crossover.
Trevor, we're super popular compared to Alex Kurtzman Star Trek. Seriously, the one with Picard, I think, had like 1,000 viewers after 24 hours. An interview with Patrick Stewart. Like, that's how much that dude's killed that franchise.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Bart, I had an idea. I didn't know what you thought. For 2 weeks from now or whenever, if I sent you a list of stuff that we thought this is potential topics, yes, I can do this, and then throw a poll over on the BGG.
I think that's good. I like but instead of doing it on, well, I don't know.
It wouldn't be a series. It's just various stuff. Like I mentioned, dudes in a map. I've heard asymmetrical.
I love it. I love it. Do the poll. Do it. I mean, I want to do what the fans do.
But it had to be stuff that we have, because we get all kinds of requests, and heck, a lot of them stuff we've already done.
Right.
Some of them, if there's enough stuff to revisit, like I could always do top 5 solitaire again because things have changed. But some of the stuff hasn't really going to change through the years, so it's kind of like just a rehash. But yeah, some of the stuff, if we say that we could both do it, this would be cool to do. Throw it. I mean, it's all good. I don't care. Whatever people want to see.
I love it. And we'll plug while we're at it. If you guys enjoy the show, please pop over to Patreon if you want to help support. And just once you go to Patreon, you can look up Bonding with Board Games. You can support for as little as $2 a month. It basically helps me have the high-speed connection to do these shows. StreamYard actually charges. I pay by the year to get the best rate, but they just moved up to the 1080p, which is awesome. StreamYard's phenomenal, but there's money associated. So if anybody loves the show and wants to come over and support, please pop over and do that as well. Like I said, even $2 a month, if 10 people do it, it helps me out. That almost, if I got that every month, that would help make up for some of the costs on the side. So keep a look at that. Let's look at a couple comments and then we'll get out of here. I'm no longer a Star Trek fan, says Bite. I have changed loyalties to the Orville.
I'm going through Voyager right now.
Is Orville still going? See, I don't even watch TV anymore. I mean, it looked interesting. So Obviously, it must still be up and running. Let's see. There was a Judd one here. Judd, I know you helped on France 40. Are you doing any other projects? That's a great question, David.
I have not heard anything about Russia 1944. Probably the biggest thing of it was COVID, because Mark was talking about this back in January. And so
you're going to be a developer on another one?
Yeah, it's the other one. It's the Eastern Front version of France 1944.
Yeah, the map can actually join, right?
Yeah. I got to get around poor old Mike. I need to get on and Clash of Tyrants. I've only been bugging that guy for years to do it. I need to get on, and part of me is just the whole, how do I make the parts? Do I want to do a vassal? I don't have the stomach for doing vassal modules like I used to, where, oh yeah, I'll just sit down and crank this thing out, and next thing you know, I'm on the hook for 40 hours and didn't realize it. Now I kind of know what I'm up against, and it takes a little bit of oomph to get me actually into making one of those things. So as far as a play test, I don't have a kit or anything like that. I was supposed to do some play test with that. Other than that, projects, I got lots of little stuff I want to do. I want to create a solitaire system for Caesar and Alyssa, the old Avalon Hill game. I think there's something in that. This wouldn't take me long at all. I just got to get off my rear and do it. I want to make a AI, artificial intelligence system for doing the battles in Hannibal, like I did for We the People. That's why I went out and bought a Windows 95 computer, so I could run Visual Basic 6, because that's the programming language I know. I got lots of little small stuff on the back burner, but right now I'm just kind of too busy having fun playing games, and I'm off every Monday, so I get these 3-day weekends to do this stuff like the Alpha Quadrant War.
Beautiful. Here's John here. Judd, not a fan of Patrick Stewart. Thought he liked Next Generation.
Well, I like Next Generation, but Picard's a wiener compared to Kirk. By the way, I have settled that debate once and for all. You want to hear it? Here it is.
A wiener.
Yeah. Think about this. Kirk does his 5-year mission and is immediately promoted to Admiral for the Star Trek The Motion Picture. Youngest captain in Starfleet history. Picard does a 7-year mission. The 7th year, we're seeing Deep Space Nine. The 3rd year of Deep Space Nine, 10th year of Next Generation, Janeway gets lost on Voyager. She comes back 7 years later. So what are we up to? 17 years after Next Generation started. 17 years plus question mark how long it took between that and the last Star Trek Next Generation movie with the Romulans. And Picard calls up and talks to Admiral Janeway. So we are 17 to 20 years. Janeway's been promoted. Picard is still a captain. Obviously, Starfleet does not value that man as a captain. And the reason why is because he's a tea-sipping wiener who won't fight anybody because all he wants to do is talk and play Shakespeare. He's no Kirk.
I think it's because
Kirk,
for a while
promoted.
his name was Locutus, and they don't trust him.
I don't trust him either. Anybody who won't fight, and when the dude's fighting, they get shot up, and he's like, report. Oh, Dex, blah, blah, blah. Report. I'd be like, shoot back, kill him, then we'll assess the damage. Okay, sorry.
It's good. I felt like we were in real life.
Yeah, 17 years plus, no promotion. Obviously, Kirk's the man.
Now, Trevor's dialed in, man. Trevor's dialed in. Once they made Vader a wuss, I stopped watching Star Trek.
Vader.
Exactly. That's what he's doing. Yes. See, he's dialed in. Let's see. Vorpal is working on his own war game. It's based upon the crew of the USS Indianapolis versus the Sharks.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a little one-sided. Unfortunately, they taught them to all kick, and all that did was bring more sharks into the area. Ugh. I can't imagine floating in a frenzy. Ugh. Vorpal is it on the P500? All right, let's wrap it up with the asymmetric game of the USS Indianapolis. Thanks, Vorpal. All right, we are ending it. Feed the niche. See you guys.
All righty.
Bye-bye.